In the sleepy suburb of Willow Creek Estates, where every lawn was trimmed to perfection and mailboxes stood in obedient rows, I, Sarah Miller, thought I'd found my slice of peace. My modern two-story home, with its secluded backyard and quirky old fieldstone chimney, was my haven. But peace, as it turns out, doesn't last when you've got an HOA president like Linda Voss ruling the roost. Linda wasn't just a control freak. She was a hurricane in a teal blazer, her peroxide blonde bob defying Jura VY tie, her smile sharp enough to cut glass. In one wild, chaotic night, I turned her perfect little world into a reptilian nightmare. It all started with a vacation I'd been dreaming of for months, a 3-week solo adventure through Southeast Asia, a reward for wrapping up a brutal project. I'm a consultant, specializing in secure environmental design, sometimes crafting containment solutions for private collectors or zoos with very particular needs. My house was my sanctuary, a place to escape the chaos of my work. But Linda had other plans. I was knee-deep in my rebellious vegetable garden, quiet act of defiance against the neighborhood's sterile perfection when her gleaming black SUV rolled up like a tank. Out she stepped, her teal blazer practically glowing, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. "Sarah, darling," she cooed, "just the person I needed to see." I wiped the dirt from my hands, already dreading whatever was coming. Linda didn't do casual VY sits. Usually, I got her passive-aggressive newsletters about approved fence heights or the exact shade of beige for shutters. "What's up, Linda?" I asked, keeping my tone neutral. She scanned my property like a general sizing up a battlefield, then clapped her hands, her chunky gold rings glinting. "The annual Willow Creek Summer Social is coming up, and your house, Sarah, hits perfect. That open leave VYing room, the big kitchen, that charming patio. We're thinking it's the ideal spot for the party." I blinked, stunned. My house. Irabata, upinidemitat. For the HOA social? Her smile widened, mistaking my shock for enthusiasm. "Exactly. So much cozier than the clubhouse. And I hear you're off on a little trip soon, so it's perfect timing." My stomach twisted. How did she know about my trip? I'd only told a couple of close friends. The Willow Creek Gossip Mill was terrifyingly efficient. "Yeah, I'm Leah VYing," I said carefully, "which means I won't be here to host." Linda waved a dismissive hand, nearly knocking out a butterfly with her bangle. "Oh, don't worry, Sarah. We'll handle everything while you're gone. Free of charge, of course. Think of it as your gift to the community." The audacity hit me like a slap. She wasn't asking. She was decreeing. My private sanctuary was to be hijacked for her HOA extravaganza, all because it was convenient and apparently free. "Linda," I said, my voice steady despite the heat rising in my chest, "I'm not okay with this. My house isn't available for parties, whether I'm here or not." Her smile tightened, the teal fabric of her blazer straining as she shifted. "Not okay," she echoed, her warmth evaporating. "But Sarah, it's for the community. You wouldn't want to seem uncooperative, would you?" There was the veiled threat, the hint that defying her would make me the neighborhood pariah. I'd dealt with tough clients and even tougher situations in my career, but Linda's entitlement was next level. "My answer's no," I said firmly. "My home's private property, and it's off limits. I'm sure you'll find another venue." For a moment, she just stared, her perfectly arched eyebrows climbing toward her bob. Then she sniffed, nose tilting skyward. "Well, that's disappointing, Sarah. Very disappointing. We'll have to note your lack of community spirit." The threat was clear now, a blunt warning. I nodded. "Noted." She gave my garden a look that screamed property value sabotage, then swished back to her SUV. As it purred away, I knew this wasn't over. Linda Voss didn't take rejection lightly. I spent the next few days upgrading my security system high-res cameras with cloud backup, motion alerts pinging my phone no matter where I was. My trip was 10 days away, and I started a log. Saw June 12th. Linda Voss, HOA president, demanded use of my house for a party. Request denied. Hinted at consequences. So little did I know that log would soon read like a crime thriller. The harassment began almost immediately. First, a citation for my garden gnomes had apparently, sunset coral wasn't HOA approved. That gnome was a gift from my quirky Aunt June, and I'd had it for years. I fired back a polite email asking for the official gnome color chart. No reply, just a sharper notice. Then came a fine for my recycling bin being 2 inches too close to the curb on a non-pickup day. My neighbor, Mrs. Clara, a sweet old lady with eagle eyes, caught Linda's husband, Harold, a nervous guy who always looked like he'd lost his keys and his spine measuring the distance with a tape measure while Linda's Super VY said from her SUV. I paid the Law 15 fine online, attaching a note. Saw a donation to the Linda Voss Needs a Hobby Fund. So I doubt she laughed. Each citation, each snippy email from the HOA's compliance account definitely Linda in a stern font was a jab, a reminder of her power. But if she thought I'd cave, she was dead wrong. I kept documenting. Notices, photos of Harold with his tape measure. Thanks, Mrs. Clara, for the sneaky flip phone pic, and my calm but firm replies. My Linda file was growing thick. The day before my flight, as I triple-checked my security system and packed, Linda called. Her voice was syrupy enough to rot teeth. Sarah, dear, just checking if you've reconsidered our little proposal. The social committee's finalizing plans, and your home would be just DVYNE. My knuckles whitened on the phone, but I stayed cool. Linda, my stance hasn't changed. My house is off limits. A pause, then ice in her tone. Well, that's a shame. A real shame for everyone. Enjoy your trip. Click. The threat hung in the air like smoke. That night, I did a final sweep-locked windows, reinforced patio door, motion-activated floodlights angled for maximum coverage. My cameras fed HD video to a secure cloud, and I added discrete audio recorders near entry points, just for ambient monitoring. I left my itinerary with Mrs. Clara, who promised to watch my house and water my veggies. Don't worry about Linda, dear, she whispered, patting my arm. She's all bluster, no bite. I wasn't so sure. Linda struck me as a VY parentile. I left for the airport before dawn, a knot of unease twisting my gut. 14 hours later, I landed in Bangkok, jet-lagged but buzzing with excitement. Then my phone lit up, saw motion detected, front door. Motion detected, VYing room window. Motion detected, kitchen door. Saw my heart slammed into my throat. I opened the security app, and there, clear as day, was Linda Voss, Harold, and 2 HOA board members, nervous-looking Martin and sour-faced Evelyn messing with my front door. Harold held my toolbox, plucked from my locked garage. Rage and panic collided as I watched Harold pop the lock. Linda smirked, swept inside like she owned the place, and her crew followed. Piece of cake, Linda's voice crackled through the audio. Sarah should have been more accommodating. This is perfect for the social. Harold, move that ugly armchair. Evelyn, check the fridge, see if she left anything for appetizers. My hand shook. They were ransacking my home. I called the Willow Creek police, voice tight, explaining that my HOA president was burglarizing my house live on my cameras. The dispatcher, sounding bored, drawled, "An HOA dispute, ma'am." I insisted. "They broke in. I have VY Deo." He sighed. "We'll send a car when one's available. These things usually sort themselves out." Click. I called back, demanding a super VY SOAR, but got the same brush off. For 2 excruciating hours, I watched them paw through my stuff, critique my wallpaper, and munch my fancy crackers. Linda even tried on my silk scarf, preening in my mirror. Finally, a police cruiser rolled up. 2 officers knocked, chatted with a smiling Linda, and left without stepping inside. She waved them off, smug as ever. The betrayal burned. The police were either in her pocket or too lazy to care. I was alone, thousands of miles away, watching my home be VY OLAT. The shock hardened into something colder, sharper. If the system wouldn't help, I'd take matters into my own hands. My vacation was over. I booked the earliest flight home, my mind racing. My work taught me how to handle unpredictable creatures, and Linda was just a different kind of beast. On the 18-hour flight I planned, my security footage was gold. Linda's break-in, Harold's bumbling, their faces clear. The police's inaction was recorded too. This wasn't just about a party anymore. It was about justice. Back in the U.S., I headed to a secure storage unit I kept for work contingencies. Among my gear was a reinforced transport crate. I needed something big, intimidating, but manageable. A quick anonymous email to an HOA member confirmed Linda's party was set for Friday at my house, under the lie that I'd agreed. Then I made encrypted calls to contacts in my network, folks who dealt in discrete animal relocations. I wasn't after anything illegal, just a specific creature. I found it, a 7-foot American alligator named Brutus, a rescue from a busted exotic pet ring, awaiting transfer to a sanctuary. His handlers, who owed me a favor, agreed to a short, deniable environmental exercise. The price was steep, but my need for vengeance was steeper. Transporting Brutus was tricky. I hired an unmarked van and 2 pros who asked no questions. My chimney's wide flue, a relic of the house's design, was perfect for Brutus's entrance. With the damper removed, it was a stone slide into my living room. Brutus, lightly sedated and in a custom harness I designed, would be manageable. It sounded crazy, but I was past sane. I prepped the house-disabled manual lock overrides, reinforced the chimney base, and added an infrared camera over the fireplace. I even left a pile of Linda's citations in the hearth, kindling for her downfall. A herpetologist, Dr. Lee, was on standby for Brutus's safe removal. Friday night, I sat in a rented house nearby, my laptop showing multiple camera feeds. At 6:57 p.m., Linda's SUV pulled up. She strutted out in a sequined orange dress that screamed midlife crisis, Harold trailing in a garish Hawaiian shirt. Martin, Evelyn, and 2 loyalists knitting-obsessed Nancy and smug, wannabe Greg followed, along with a dozen clueless neighbors. Linda produced a shiny new key, proof they planned this. "Welcome," she chirped, lying about my generous offer. Inside, they mingled oblivious as awful jazz blared. Half a mile away, my delivery team hoisted Brutus up my house's exterior, avoiding streetlights. My heart pounded as they reached the chimney. At 7:32 p.m., the damper opened and Brutus slid down, landing with a thud on Linda's citations. He shook his massive head, disoriented but majestic. For a moment, no one noticed. Then Evelyn, near the fireplace, gasped, "What's that?" Brutus hissed, low and guttural, slicing through the jazz. Heads turned. Nancy dropped a knitting needle. Linda, mid-story, froze, her eyes ballooning. Silence gripped the room, broken only by Brutus's hisses. Then pandemonium. Harold screamed like a spooked puppy, scrambling onto the mantel. Evelyn, yelling, "It's a dinosaur," leaped onto a chair. Martin fainted by my stolen crackers. Linda, pointing a trembling finger, bellowed, "What is that thing?" Brutus ambled onto my rug, eyeing Harold's shirt. I tapped my app, locking every door and window. Click, click, click. My house was a cage. Linda climbed my dining table, her dress snagging, sliding back down. Neighbors pounded locked doors, their panic music to my ears. I called the county sheriff, voice calm. "I'm Sarah Miller, owner of 12 Willow Creek Lane. My cameras show HOA members broke into my house for a party, and a large alligator's inside, possibly via the chimney. They're trapped and panicking." The dispatcher, stunned, promised immediate action. I made an anonymous tip to a reporter, hinting at an HOA scandal and police cover-up. Back on my feed, Brutus nosed my tortilla chips, unimpressed. Sirens wailed not local cops, but county deputies and animal control. A news van screeched up, camera rolling. Deputies tried the locked door, then forced it open. Partygoers spilled out, sobbing, crawling. Linda, wild-eyed, shrieked, "Arrest Sarah Miller. She locked us in with that monster." A sergeant cut her off. "Ms. Miller reported the break-in, ma'am." Her jaw dropped, the camera catching every second. Animal control guided Brutus into a crate, unharmed. My plan was complete. The fallout was glorious. My footage Linda's break-in, the duplicate key, her lies nailed her. She and Harold faced charges for trespassing and endangerment. The HOA ousted her, electing a sane board. Petty rules vanished, gardens bloomed. Brutus reached his sanctuary, and I donated generously. My house was repaired, my legend grew. Neighbors left pies and thumbs-ups. Linda's orange dress was gone, replaced by drab gray. Her empire crumbled. But here's where it gets juicy. Drop a comment and weigh in. Was I a hero for taking down Tyrant? Or did I go too far with a 7-foot alligator? Should I have trusted the system, or was Brutus the only way? And what would Saw You Saw do if someone broke into your home? Hit that like button, subscribe, and let's stir up some chaos in the comments.